Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551, and hopefully you guys out there had a safe or happy Halloween, whether it was going out and trick-or-treating or going to a party or whatever you were doing. Hopefully your Halloween was enjoyable and all, whether it was with friends or family or anything like that though. And obviously out here in California, or at least in Southern California, it's starting to get a little bit chilly, which is nice from the warm weather, but then again, then you're going to have people start complaining about it being too cold. They want the warm weather again, and when the warm weather comes back, it's going to be like they wish they had some cool weather. Mother Nature can't please everyone, let's just say. But anyway, we got 4 stories to cover this week, and we excuse me, for this week though, which is also EA and Marvel striking a bit of a deal, and why I'm kind of mixed on this though. We also learn about Eidos Montreal and some of the stuff that's going around with them as well, including them helping out possibly on also Fable 2. We also learn about Square Enix and what they are taking certainly a different approach to certain things now. And of course, Hideki Kamiya has come out in regards of his comments regarding Nintendo and Bayonetta 3 though. And if you're interested in where I got source of these information though, links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. But before we get started, I like to do what it's like to call the quick my 2 cents. Stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details. This is both video games and, of course, any movies or TV shows, though. The first one we want to talk about is that the Shin Megami Tensei series is celebrating its 30th anniversary. I believe they put out an art book and all, and certainly nice to see the series is growing strong, especially with Shin Megami Tensei 5 on the Nintendo Switch. I believe it's also on PC as well. I wouldn't mind another entry in the series. I wouldn't mind seeing another one on the Nintendo Switch. I'm definitely open to seeing more of that, along with other Aulx games like more Persona, to even any of the Vanillaware games on the Nintendo Switch and all. We also have a release date for Sony's, I think, PlayStation VR 2 that has been announced. I think a price point, let's see to be exact. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it might be around $500. I'm not 100% sure though. Honestly, I'm not huge in the whole VR thing, so I'm not really going to be digging into this one though. I'm sure there are those out there though who are into this stuff, whether it's the Oculus, I think the Oculus Rift or Oculus Quest or something from Meta/Facebook, to what PlayStation is doing though. I mean, I'm sure there's an audience for there, but just it's not something that really interests me as much. We also saw Sony put out a very bizarre ad for God of War Ragnarok, which is be coming up soon. It'll be released next week. So far, it's getting good scores on Metacritic and all. And this ad had basically Ben Stiller, LeBron James, and John Travolta in there with their children. And it's just... it's weird. It is just bizarre and weird, but also funny at the same time, especially seeing Ben Stiller dress up as Kratos, for crying out loud. So it's a bizarre ad, but it certainly is an interesting ad nevertheless. And I will give at least Sony credit for coming up with somewhat of a clever ad in a way, even if it's weird and strange and all. We also learned that basically Microsoft is going to be investing in a Korean game developer in terms of the whole blockchain situation though, which is kind of interesting because we've heard Microsoft made statements in the past of how they weren't going to do that, especially with Minecraft or anything like that. So it's kind of interesting that they're investing in this, considering right now the reputation for blockchains and NFTs aren't exactly in the best position at this time though. So I mean, I'm worried that this could turn into the kind of situation we are seeing currently right now with cryptocurrency, how that just completely collapsed and all. So we'll see how this one plays out and all. We also learned that basically we do have a release date, I think for February, for the upcoming game Atomic Heart. It will be coming to multiple systems: PS4, PS5, Xbox, I think Xbox One, Xbox Series S and S, PC, and of course Game Pass. This is a game that kind of caught my attention when it was shown during one of Microsoft's showcase. I believe this was back in 2021 though. It looked really neat. I definitely got a little bit of a BioShock vibe out of that game, and that certainly is not a bad thing and all. So it's definitely one I'll be keeping an eye out. It'll be around the same time when my birthday is. I'll be 41 in February, and my birthday's on February 11th, though. And since it's coming to Game Pass, that's definitely a plus. So it's going to be a day one for me to try out and all. And we also learned that basically one of the folks who are known on leaking or sort of addressing rumors, Nibble, from what we heard, has basically quit Twitter. Now, there have been several reasons behind this, though. Some are pointing out to the financial situation. Others are pointing out to the fact that richest man in the world and owner who owns SpaceX and Tesla, Elon Musk, has completely bought Twitter and all that stuff. Some are saying that he's quitting because of that, though. Whatever the reason is, it's basically a bit unfortunate to hear this person leave Twitter, though. Does this mean does this mean I'm going to leave Twitter? No, I have no desire to leave Twitter, despite Elon Musk buying Twitter and all. I don't have a lot of faith in him making Twitter better, though, but I have no plans to leave Twitter. But in either case, it is a little bit unfortunate to hear this person leave Twitter and all that. And in the movie and TV show part of my Quick My Two Cent, though, we learned that Henry Cavill, who played Geralt in The Witcher, if I'm saying the name correctly, in the Witcher series on Netflix, will be leaving, and he will be replaced, I think, at the end of season 3 by Liam Hemsworth, who will be taking over at that point. The reaction has been somewhat mixed. Some folks are not exactly happy about this and all, but others might understand, considering the fact that there are reports he might Henry Cavill is going back to donning the Superman outfit and all that stuff, considering the whole shakeup we're seeing at Warner Brothers Discovery in terms of they're recently, hiring James Gunn to take over the DC's movies and all, and try to do an approach somewhat similar to what Marvel is doing, currently under the leadership of Kevin Feige and all. On top of that, we're also learning that from a foreign producer that the writers dislike the books and the games in terms of trying to create the Witcher TV series. Now, assuming what this foreign producer is saying is true, though, that seems a little bit odd that they would dislike it. I mean, I'm not saying you have to, if it's not your preference and taste, that's fine, but to dislike it, though, I mean, don't you want to look at the games and the book as sort of a way to draw inspiration in terms of wanting to create this hit show for Netflix, though, to be exact, though? That, along with the Castlevania and also a favorite of mine, Cyberpunk Edge Runner. I'm sorry, compared to mixing the two, but yeah, it seems a little bit odd, indeed, at least from my look of it, though. We also learned that supposedly there will be a spin-off for the WandaVision TV show. One will be based off of the Vision series, though, and that's being developed for Disney Plus, though. Another one that was announced last week that I didn't cover, unfortunately, was one about Angela Harkison, the villain from the WandaVision show, will be getting her own series, to be exact, though. I don't know exactly what direction they're going to go. Will this be like a prequel, like stuff that happened before, what happened in WandaVision, or what her life will be after, what life was like for her following the events of WandaVision. So still a little bit up in the air about exactly how they're going to approach that, but we know both of these shows will be on Disney Plus, which certainly is nice. And last but not least, we finally got a chance to see a second trailer for Avatar: The Way of the Water. This is the official trailer, and I will say it's definitely one of my movies I'm looking forward to seeing for the holidays, though. I did enjoy the first one, even though some may argue it's sort of like Pocahontas in space, and that's probably a good, I can't disagree with that, though. But nevertheless, I'm looking forward to the sequel, though. Music for the trailer is fine, though, although I did like the trailer music from the first Avatar: Way of the Water trailer. I thought that one was better, but it's music for the trailer nevertheless. I still am looking forward to seeing this movie, though. Okay, with the quick My 2 cent part now done, we'll get started with our first story. And this has to do with comments that Hideki Kamiya has recently made in regards of Bayonetta 3. Now, the last week or around October, though, Bayonetta 3 was really in the news for multiple reasons. I'm sure most of you heard about the whole Helen Taylor boycott and how that whole situation turned out and all that stuff. But regardless of whatever the case was, though, the game finally came out, and it definitely has gotten very good reviews, though. And even a look at Digital Foundry, that at least according to them, they like the game, but it does sound like to them they think it's a bit, rough and all that stuff, though. But in either case, I've been enjoying the game myself. I've enjoyed the Bayonetta series from the first one all the way to the second one when it was on the Wii U, now on the Switch, to now with the third one officially out and all that stuff. Well, recently, Hideki Kamiya has basically made some interesting comments. He was interviewed by Famitsu, and he made some interesting comments regarding the relationship between Nintendo and Platinum, particularly in regards of Bayonetta 3. Now, it is worth pointing out that this was translated by Nintendo Everything, though, so I don't know how accurate the translation. It might be good or not, so take it how it is. Bear in mind, this is from Nintendo Everything. So to begin with, this is what the questions they asked him. To begin with, how did planning for Bayonetta 3 start off? He responded, quote, "From the time frame, it was right after the project we were working on, Scalebound, got canceled. We decided to start work on Bayonetta 3, a game that fans wanted, and the one I wanted to make as well. Just writing up the proposal cost nothing, so we started molding the prototypes. I proceeded to come up with the concept and made some rough drafts while director Yusuke, Yusuke, apologize if I'm not saying that name correctly, and the others put those in the proposals. We worked with character designs. We worked with character designer, a new person on the Bayonetta new design, and started giving form to the story. Then you took it to Nintendo. That was the question asked. Another person said, before that, we already had plans to port Bayonetta 2 to Nintendo Switch. It was brought off. Kamiya responded, when we tried to get the feel for whether or not they'll let us do this, they gave it consider optimismly. I apologize for not saying that word correctly, though. This other person said, quote, after that, we received a passionate video message from Kamiya about the game. Personally, I think that was the final push that made this game a reality. And Hideki Kamiya said, quote, speaking of that, I was asked to make a video by Platinum Games CEO. He laughed. He said he wanted to show the creators passionate directly. I said earlier that I was almost completely uninvolved with Bayonetta 2, but I did write the story, and I think they kept it intact mostly. Since I saw that it was well received, I wanted to expand the world even further for the fans, and I also wanted to challenge myself. That's why I was really happy that we are able to make the third game. I'm not exaggerating when I said I'm forever in debt to Nintendo. Another thing to point out is that apparently there are some basically in terms of the UK charts, though, it seems to point out that Bayonetta 3 entered in at number 3 on the UK charts this week, though. Supposedly the other charts from Japan seem to indicate it entered in at number 2, though. While apparently there are reports that Bayonetta 3 sales are marginally bigger than Bayonetta 2 on the Switch. This came from someone by the name of Christopher Drings. He said, quote, in terms of retail physical UK sales charts, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is the biggest Call of Duty launch since the 2019 Modern Warfare 1. Of course, retail sales don't remotely paint the whole picture. Digital data arrives later in the week. Bayonetta 3's UK sales are very marginally bigger than what Bayonetta 2 managed on the Switch back in 2018. Again, this is purely physical retail data. So it's very nice. It's sort of interesting to hear Hideki Kamiya kind of praise Nintendo or saying that he's forever in their debt, though it does seem to indicate that there is clearly a good partnership between Platinum and Nintendo. Now, obviously, not every game Platinum has put out has been perfect on the system. That's my cat jumping up. jumping on my desk. I mean, Star Fox Zero got a mixed response. Not everyone was like the controls though. Wonderful 101 had sort of a learning curve with the controls on that one too. But there were those who did like a lot of the games, whether it was, the Bayonetta series to even, Astro Chain and all. So I think it's really great that they are basically do have this really good relationship and all. I would like to see that relationship continue going forward though. I mean, I would love to see them do like a sequel or a prequel to Astro Chain. That certainly would be nice. So I'm definitely... I gotta get him down. Sorry, Rocky. Sorry, kitty. I had to get him off my desk though. So, about that. But yeah, I would love to see them, like in its prequel or sequel to Astro Chain. That would be great. And I would love to see that partnership continue on. Whether or not that means Platinum, Nintendo is going to buy Platinum, that remains to be seen. The Nintendo fan inside of me would say, yes, I would love them to purchase Platinum, but I also know Nintendo isn't known to purchase a lot of studios compared to what Sony and Microsoft are known for. So we'll have to see about that, but I would love to see that partnership continue. As for Bayonetta 3 and how it's doing in the UK though, I will say that certainly is not a bad start for it though, especially at number 2 on the Famitsu sales charts and at number 3 on the UK sales charts though. I do want to know where it's going to be once the NPD sales charts come out though. How well did it did? Did it crack the top 20 in any way though? How well did it did on the top 10 Nintendo Switch games to be exact? So I'm a little curious to see where it ranks though. I'm hoping it does very well to be exact though. And I'm also curious to see whether or not the boycott had any positive or negative impact to it. Some believe that it did have a positive impact, but we'll have to wait and see when the NPD sale charts come out. So overall though, it's very interesting to see the Hideki Kamiya said that he's forever in debt to Nintendo though. I certainly would love to see the partnership between Platinum and Nintendo continue, whether it's a new IP or working on Nintendo's existing IP though. I would love to see this partnership continue though, and my fingers are crossed on this one that I'm hoping that when the NPD charts come out, Bayonetta 3 did very well in those charts. But we'll have to wait and see until the NPD releases the sales charts and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2. And this one has to do with Square Enix seem to be going into a somewhat different direction to a certain degree, such as focusing on more of a global market. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my 2 cents video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at Square Enix and a recent statement that they have recently made, though. Wait, okay, that's just my cat, don't worry. All right. Now, for me, Square Enix has kind of been sort of a mixed bag for me to some extent, though, to be exact. While they have produced some really great games, including some on the Nintendo Switch, like Octopath Traveler, to Bravely Default, to Field Chronicles, that have been out on multiple systems, all, there have been certainly questionable decisions that they have made, ranging from their obsession with blockchains and NFTs to the one that was just recently announced, which many thought it was going to be a return of Parasite Eve, but that proved that wasn't the case though. My cat is trying to nib at me or something like that. But there have been a lot of questionable decisions though. But recently Square Enix basically talked to investors about the possibility that they are going to be, or most likely going to be, focusing on a global market a bit more than they were like into the Japanese market though. In an article published by Game Rant, it reads that, quote, Square Enix revealed in a recent annual report that achieving success in Japan is no longer enough, and it will be shifting its focus to releasing titles that can perform well the world over. As the Western gaming market continues to expand, Square Enix has recognized that it's now necessary to cater to the entire world with its games rather than primarily Japan. As a Japanese company, Square Enix has primarily focused on its home demographic, with other markets being secondary. However, times have changed and the demographic of Japan changed with it. Square Enix is seeing the need to consider how to succeed everywhere. In a financial report released by Square Enix, the company discussed its plan to moving forward and how it intends to achieve them. In it, the report details how Japan has a graying demographic, referring to its aging population, and that due in combined to that and higher production costs, it's necessary to produce games that will be popular all over the world, not just in Japan. Games take a lot of money to produce. Don't disagree with that these days, and Square Enix knows that it is no longer possible to feasibly, again, it's my cat, no longer feasible to recoup production costs, let alone turn a profit if the games are only selling well in Japan. The report also heavily emphasized that games that have sold well for the company across the globe, detailing 36 million units sold in the Kingdom Hearts series, 173 million for Final Fantasy, noticeably, and yeah, again, that's my cat, and Final Fantasy, sorry about that, 85 million for the Dragon Quest series, which been a huge hit in Japan since its inception, but hasn't performed as well as series like Final Fantasy outside of the country, though. Now more than ever, access to new video games have become a global, simultaneous phenomenon. Companies that used to take months, if not years, to release a title outside of Japan are now releasing it simultaneously, like Sega's Like a Dragon series. This noticeable take additional effort, as the developers not only have to think about the global market when designing the game, but translate and dubbing efforts have to be completed at the same time. More work than ever is going into these games to get them ready for their release, and unlikely to the demand will subside as gamers access games the moment they release via download and streaming instead of having to wait for a physical copy. How this will impact the direction of Square Enix future projects remains to be seen. A large number of Square Enix biggest games have already seen major success outside of its home shores, so this focus may not have much of a visible change on the way the developers operate as it would for other companies. And in case, Western fans can expect more Square Enix games to be coming their way. In terms of this approach and all that stuff, I think this can be both a good and a bad thing, though. On one hand, it could be sort of a good thing in a way that means that more games from Square Enix will be making their way over from Japan to the West, even more than before, which certainly isn't a bad thing. And I will admit, though, that while Japan still produces good games and all that stuff, it's not, like the center as it is compared to where here in the U.S. Is now and all that stuff. So, yeah, I think that it's important that they start bringing their games over here. The concern I have about this to some extent is the kind of approach we saw what Capcom tried to pull with Resident Evil 6, or try to westernize some of their games and all, which has really, to some extent, got mixed results, though, especially Resident Evil 6, which didn't exactly go over very well with a lot of the fans who felt like this was a game trying to appeal to everyone, or more appeal towards the Call of Duty crowd or something like that. And that kind of worries me a little bit with Square Enix. Are they just going to make games just only appeal to, they think, Western audience, they think only those who play Call of Duty, and alienate everyone else? So I'm kind of mixed on this report, though. I understand some of the reasons, because, yeah, gaming's a lot bigger than it was before, to be exact, though, and a lot of their games have found successes outside of Japan, but at the same time, I'm a little worried of them maybe going a little overboard, like as I mentioned, with Resident Evil 6 and so forth. So we'll see how this all plays out, but for right now, though, we'll have to, like I said, take a wait and see, though. Overall, I would say it's an interesting strategy Square Enix is taking, though. It might work in their favor, it may not, so we'll have to wait and see, though. But hopefully this means we'll see more games, or even games that Square Enix has released in the past only in Japan, will finally make their way over here to the West and all. We saw that with games like Live Alive, which ran on that HD 2D though. To recently, we're seeing a remake of the first and second Front missions that are basically going to be making their way over here to the West. So we'll see how this all plays out and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3. And this one has to do with Eidos Montreal, and they've been kind of a little bit busy lately, though, to be exact. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of my Maichi Sent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at Eidos Montreal, and it seems as though Eidos Montreal has been kind of busy lately, though. Ever since they were sold to Embracer Group by Square Enix, along with Crystal Dynamics and several of their IPs, though, a lot of people have been kind of wondering what Eidos Montreal could be working on, though. We know that Crystal Dynamics, their studio another studio of theirs, is certainly helping out with Microsoft and the initiative on the Perfect Dark reboot. We know that a new Tomb Raider game is in development, and supposedly that will be running on Unreal Engine 5, at least that's what has been reported. But now a tweet, or at least a comment made by Jason Schreier, seems to indicate that there's several things that are going on at Eidos Montreal, though. According to at least a tweet that seems to be coming out, if I can get it up here just a second. Let me see if I can find that tweet. I know I saw it somewhere here. It basically points out. Oh yeah, here it is. It basically points out several things in regards of what Eidos Montreal is doing. According to him, one of the studios they recently have shut down, though, and it says Onoma, O-N-O-M-A, was part of the acquisition that saw Embracer take control of Eidos and the Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, and Legacy of Kain franchise. The company informed the staff at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, meaning today, that the studio is shutting down and the company is pivoted to focus only on PC and consoles. Continuing on, he also read that Eidos Montreal, which remains intact, canceled the Stranger Things inspired Kids on Bike game that was okay, that's my cat. All right, Rocky, no, I'm sorry, Rocky, you're gonna have to get off. Yeah, I know, but you're gonna have to get off. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. That's my cat was just doing some things. So anyway, Eidos Montreal, which remains intact, canceled the Stranger Things inspired Kids on Bike game that was rumored recently. They're now working on a new IP. They also are doing a new Deus Ex game that is in very, very, very early development, though, and co-developing partnership with Xbox, including Fable, though. So this is kind of interesting indeed to hear about this, to be exact, though, to hear about what some of the changes are being done over there. It's very unfortunate to hear this studio is being shut down, though. While I appreciate that they're focusing on PC and consoles, I do kind of feel sorry for some of the staff that basically hearing this announcement. I'm hoping they are moved to other studios as well, or able to find new jobs and all that. So it is very unfortunate, though. As far as that Stranger Thing Kids on Bike, though, very unfortunate to hear that one canceled, though. I don't know whether that would have worked out well or not. There have been different Stranger Things video games out there, so I'm kind of curious to see where. Let's see. It's kind of unfortunate to see what happened to this game, to be exact. Excuse me. But as far as all the other stuff, though, the fact that they're working on a new IP is very interesting indeed. It'll be interesting to see what direction they decide to take this new IP and so forth, though. And the fact that a new Deus Ex game is very early in development, though, is certainly nice. I think the big question is, will it be a sequel to, say, like Mankind Divide, or will it go completely different in a completely different direction, or is it like a reboot or anything like that? As far as them helping out on Fable and all, and helping out with Xbox though, that is kind of interesting indeed though. Some might view this as that the game may be in trouble and all, such as there may be some issues that we don't know about though, and while that might be true to some extent though, this isn't the first time we've seen, you know, video game companies like Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo bring in like a third-party developer to help out with a certain game or not though. Bandai Namco has worked with Nintendo on games like Mario Kart 8 to basically Super Smash Bros. Ultimate though. So, I mean, it's possible it could be a sign that Fable is struggling, but it can also be a sign that it may not be struggling at all and they're just bringing in extra help to be exact though. Again, none of this is officially confirmed at this time though, but given Jason Schreier's history though, I tend to be more of, I kind of believe this a bit more to be exact though. So overall though, it's very interesting to hear what's going on with Eidos Montreal. Indeed, to be exact though, the fact that they're working on a new IP is great. The fact that a new Deus Ex game is in development, though early, assuming that's true, is certainly nice. And the fact that basically they're helping out with Fable is kind of interesting, and it'll be kind of interesting to see what direction this new Fable game is going to go. As far as that studio closing down, like I mentioned, it is unfortunate to be exact though, so that is very unfortunate indeed. But hopefully they move those folks to another studio within, you know, Eidos Montreal to, you know, continue work and all. If not, I hope they're able to find a new job though. It's very unfortunate to hear something like that though. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to our fourth and final part, and this one has to do with EA and Marvel striking a deal and all. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at EA or Marvel and EA striking a deal though. Now, in terms of the Marvel license with video games though, there have been some hit and misses though. While there have been successes like the Spider-Man video games though, and some good response to basically Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, the Black Order. There have also been some misses like with with the Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics, the Marvel's Avenger game, and while the Guardians of the Galaxy game definitely got a better response though, it still wasn't enough to save that game or anything like that, as the game didn't do well sales-wise, and many point to basically the Avengers game as one of the reasons, as that may have had a negative impact though, which is a bit unfortunate because Guardians of the Galaxy was a good game though. Well, now we're learning that basically Marvel has struck a deal with EA to produce about 3 games from EA though, being the first one going to be a Iron Man game. From a press release released by EA though, it reads, let me see if I can scoot this over. Okay, yeah, it reads though that today's announced is collaboration with Marvel over a long-term deal to develop at least 3 new action adventure games that will be available for consoles and PC. Each of these games will bring their own original story set in the Marvel Universe, with the first title in development being a single-player, third-person action-adventure Iron Man game coming out of Motive Studios. We have been longtime fans of Marvel and their impressive leadership, so this is a remarkable moment for our developers as well as our players and fans, said the CEO at EA. We look forward to welcome Marvel into the EA family of creators and know this collaboration will produce expectational experience for our players. We can't wait to see players' reaction when they suit up as Iron Man and do extraordinary things this superhero is known for. At Marvel, we strive to find best-in-class teams who can take our characters to heroic journeys in a way that haven't been before, and collaborating with Electronic Arts will help us achieve that, said the Vice President at Marvel Games. We pride ourselves on being enthusiastic creative collaborators with developers, so they have the freedom to create something deeply unique and truly remarkable. The team at Motive is getting started on that with their Iron Man video game, and we can't wait for players to learn more in the far future. Developed in collaboration with Marvel, the Iron Man game will feature an original narrative that taps into the rich history of the characters, challenging the complex charms and creative genius of Tony Stark, enable players to feel what it's like to truly play as Iron Man. The team is being headed by Oliver Proulx, which brings experience working on past Marvel titles like Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, and it is joined by a dedicated team of passionate industry veterans at the studio. So in terms of this announcement, though, I would have to say I'm kind of mixed on this to a certain degree, though. I'm not saying that I want the game to fail. I think an Iron Man video game would be very, very interesting to do. I mean, while Anthem wasn't exactly a great game, a lot of people did like the Iron Man like flying mechanic, though, and it'll be kind of interesting to see if that is implemented and all that stuff. So I do think that there is potential for this game to be good, including, I think, another one. I don't know, I might be from EA, I'm not sure, but it's that Captain America Black Panther game set in World War II. That one looks kind of interesting, though. But at the same time, as much as I do think that these games have potential to be good or anything like that, we've also seen how EA has handled another one of Disney's licenses, the Star Wars license. Let us not forget, this is the same one that put out Battlefront, the first Battlefront, which didn't exactly sit very well with a lot of folks. Let's not forget this is also that put out Battlefront 2, which not only launched not at a great state when it came out, but this was also the same kind of situation that also brought us the loot box debacle that opened up the whole questions about loot boxes into video games. EA tried to defend this on Reddit, but was the most downvoted Reddit post of all time. Then again, they've won worst company in America before, twice, to be exact, though. So I'm a little bit iffy about him. And while Jedi Fallen Order was a good game, don't get me wrong, hats off to Respawn Entertainment, and the fact that basically it's the best Star Wars games EA has put out, the fact that it took them this long to produce a good one, combined with them canceling several other projects, though, because they were just single player or narrative driven and not the multiplayer loot box situation. This is why I am very worried about the idea of, EA handling these type of games, though. I'm not saying these games are going to fail. I hope they don't fail, though. But given EA's reputation, I will say I'm a little bit iffy, though, about this, though. But like anything, it's too early to tell. We have yet to see what the Iron Man game is going to look like. It might be good, it might be bad. We'll have to wait and see, to be exact, though. But yeah, I'm a little bit very mixed on this, to be exact. So overall, though, I hope this deal turns out to be good for EA and Marvel, though. I would hopefully we get a good Iron Man game, and hopefully whatever the 3 other games they're working on turns out to be good, though. But given EA's reputation and history, and given how they handled the Star Wars license outside of Jedi Fallen Order, which I mentioned was probably one of their better Star Wars game from them, though, I'm extraordinarily mixed, though. I will give them the benefit of the doubt for the time being, but I'm not exactly, shall we say, holding my breath or anything like that. Okay, this concludes my 2 cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about some of the comments Hideki Kamiya has made in regards of how he's forever in debt with Nintendo? Do you think this is a sign that Nintendo might be buying Platinum? Do you think that this is more of a sign of maybe we'll see more partnerships between Nintendo and Platinum, though? Or do you don't really think it means much, to be exact, though? Have you picked up Bayonetta 3 and have you enjoyed the game yet? What are your thoughts about Square Enix focusing more on a global market and not as much on the Japanese market? Do you think this is a smart move? Do you think this could pave the way to bringing maybe games that were once that Square Enix released that were only in Japan but never saw light of day in the West? Do you think that opens that door to seeing those games finally come over? Or do you think this may be a bad idea or a bad approach to what Square Enix is doing? What are your thoughts about some of the stuff going on at Eidos Montreal that Jason Schreier has reported? Are you a little disappointed to hear this studio close in any way, though? Are you curious to see what new IP they're putting out? Are you excited that a new Deus Ex game is in the work, though? And what are your thoughts about them helping out with Fable? Do you think this is a sign that Fable is in trouble, or do you see this as more like the kind of situation we saw where Bandai Namco worked with Nintendo on Mario Kart 8 and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? And what are your thoughts about this deal between EA and Marvel? Do you think this is a good deal, to be exact, though? Are you hopeful about this Iron Man game and possibly 2 other games EA could be working on under, with collaboration with Marvel? Or are you worried this is a bad idea, especially after how they handled the Star Wars license and all? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I will appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, wish you all a good day then. Bye!